All right, we're continuing on. This is part 2 of chapter 9. All right, this just kind of reviews how courts are set up. So, for example, if the Ashland Police Department, so if you were pulled over in Ashland for speeding, you would be referred to the Ashland City Attorney. There's one city attorney, as you can see here, and you would go to the Ashland Muni Court, and the court basically oversees their traffic violations, and their traffic violations are handled at the front court, at the front counter by court staff. If you were pulled over in Medford, you would go to their municipal court, and they have kind of their own working for parking and traffic. How they do that, it looks like it's handled at the clerk's counter again between 8 and 4:30. And they have there a city attorney, a deputy city attorney, and an assistant to a city attorney. And basically that's because they have a larger police department and a larger city, so they need more attorneys. Oregon, Medford, Oregon, along with a lot of other departments, will have dismissible traffic citations. So, for example, if you get pulled over for ineffective brake lights, fenders, headlights, tinted windows that are too dark, cracked windshields, if you get those fixed, you can go have a cop sign off of them or go to court, and those traffic violations will be dismissed. They also have traffic school, which is a great program because if you get so many points for getting traffic tickets in Oregon, you can have your driver's license suspended. So it's great to go to traffic school so that you don't get those points racked up against your driver's license. Jackson County, they have a circuit court, which basically means that they have the Supreme Court, which is the highest court in Oregon, where there's 7 elected justices. They have a Court of Appeals, which basically means that if you get arrested, let's say for murder, you are found guilty and you want to appeal it, you would go to the Court of Appeals through the Jackson County Circuit Court if it happened in Jackson County. They have a tax court and all kinds of other courts as well. All right, this is a ticket or a citation that you get in Oregon, and just kind of review it. It's got a lot of information, but normally it's information about you and what occurred. So if you look here and follow my mouse, you've kind of got what type of crime was it? Was it traffic? Where did it occur? What city? This was Ashland. What county? Jackson. Was it a juvenile? What court? Looks like you're going to talk about the name of the person arrested. Also, what code, what did they violate? If it was traffic, what type of vehicle were they driving? And then you have the offenses. So, for example, here you will have your Oregon Revised Statute and then what they did. Here it was the statute of 811.111, which they went 50 miles per hour in a 20 mile per hour school zone. Here's a place for another violation, and this is the officer that cited you. This just shows the issuing date and the court that you go to. You can see Ashland Muni Court there. Anyway, I just kind of blew it up so you could see that depending what city you're in, this would change, and it just kind of has your name and your address, information about your vehicle, information about what you did wrong, what the fine is, and then again, information about what court you go to and whose officer that wrote the ticket. And this is just looking at an actual ticket that was handwritten out. If you go here, this is the information on the person here. This is the information about when it occurred on their vehicle. But you can actually see it looks like the violation that they were doing 65 and 50 during a safety corridor. They had expired tags. Got a lot of tickets. Illegal display of ticket, failed to display their plates correctly, and failed to renew their registration. All right, we're going to review a couple things. First thing we're going to review is what the First Amendment is, because really you need to know, especially through this class, some of those important amendments. All right, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution are known as the Bill of Rights, and the First Amendment basically states that you have a right of freedom of speech. And so it says that Congress shall make no law prohibiting free exercise of religion, and that you are allowed free speech, such as what the media does and says. In some cases, you'll have protesters that even though they might be picketing and they have free speech, they become violent. And in those cases, they can be arrested. And they're not being arrested because of what they're saying. Generally, it's because they get violent. Police also may be present in athletic events, holiday parties, all those things. And what they're doing is they're allowing you to have your First Amendment. But if you start disrupting them in any way or becoming violent, then you're breaking a criminal law and you can be arrested. Okay, police also become involved when, again, speech goes beyond the First Amendment protections. And again, that happens when someone becomes a danger to others, such as hate speech, fighting words, and obscenities. Okay, Second Amendment, we have a lot going on with that right now. It's basically dealing with the right to bear arms, and that means the right for Americans to have guns. The right to carry concealed weapons is actually a different thing because most states out there, 44 states, allow you to open carry. Oregon's one, which basically means that you can walk around with a holster on and the gun open in front of everybody, and that's not against the law. You do have to have that handgun registered, though. But what is against the law is when you go to take it and conceal it. So if you put a jacket over that weapon, you are now breaking the law. Okay, there's been a lot of scrutiny on the Second Amendment, and there are gun control statutes out there that generally require licensing and registration requirements. 49 out of the 50 states allow some form of a concealment to carry firearms. And here's kind of a map. The purple are the states that issue CCW, so concealed weapon permits. You have to basically take a class and qualify. The tan states are the ones that they may issue a concealed weapons permit under certain circumstances, and the red states, the right of CCW is denied. All right, so this just kind of looks at the right where the rights are denied. So most states you can get a permit to carry a concealed weapon. Okay, your Fourth Amendment right, which we've talked about, is probable cause and reasonable suspicion, or your Terry stops, and it's the right for people to not be searched, their person or their home, unless the cop or law enforcement has probable cause. The Fourth Amendment prohibits unreasonable searches and seizures of a person, houses, papers, and effects, and requires that probable cause be demonstrated prior to the issuing of warrants. And a search occurs when an expectation of privacy is infringed. Okay, a seizure of somebody occurs when somebody is no longer free to leave or they cannot take what is theirs. The Fourth Amendment is probably the most fluid because it's constantly changing as cases are taken up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, we've already gone over probable cause and Terry stop, so I'm not going to go over it again. We've also gone over reasonable suspicion, which is the right for a cop to stop and search you. And we've gone over this as well. All right, Fourth Amendment police stops. Again, police look at the totality of the circumstance to make their decision whether or not they can search somebody. The plain view doctrine holds that, for example, let's say an officer stops you in your vehicle for running a stoplight, and they walk up and they see that you have a dead body in the car. They don't have to have a warrant to seize that dead body. It was in plain view. Also, police, when they lawfully arrest you, they have a right to search you, and anything they find in that search can also be used against you. This just basically states that that search must occur shortly after the arrest. Also, police searches incident to arrest says that, for example, if an officer arrests you for driving under the influence of alcohol, they have a right to search your car, and it's an inventory search. But that doesn't mean that they can go inside your trunk and search a small lockbox the size of a small jewelry box. And at any time, a person can waive that and consent to a search, and the officer doesn't have to have any of the things we've just spoken about. Okay, so once a person says, yep, you can search, then the officer can go ahead. But if that person changes their mind, that officer has to stop the search. Also, there can't be any deception or coercion used to get that consent to search. Okay, we're going to stop here, and it looks like we're going to have a third video. Okay, I'll see you on the third video.